Hello students, welcome to our English class. I am Miss Annie Itur and today we are going to learn the poem that is the 3.4 Leisure by William Henry Davis. So your students, Leisure is a poem in which William Henry Davis explains the biggest problem in human lives today. Every individual is busy with their day-to-day work to achieve their goals in life, and they forget to notice the smaller things in life and the happiness they can get out of those things. The entire poem is an interrogative format where each stanza is a couplet that forms a question. Those questions emphasize the points that people should spare some time and observe the nature that surrounds them. Now, your students, what is leisure? Leisure means free time. Like this time when we are totally free, we don't have tension and neither we have any kind of work. So now let's get started with the poem. Before starting up with the poem, let us know about the poet. William Henry Davies was a Welsh poet and writer. Davies spends a significant part of his life as a tramp or hobo in the United Kingdom and United States, but still became one of the most popular poets of his time. He was born on 3rd July 1871, Newport, United Kingdom, and was died on 26 September 1940, Nailsworth, United Kingdom. His nationality was English. The theme in these poems are often his observations about the hardship of life, the reflection of the poem condition in nature, his own tramping adventures, as well as the characters that he has met, has been mentioned through this poem. 3.4 Leisure. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows, no time to see when would we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass, no time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night, no time to turn at beauty glens and wash their feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. What is this life if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? So students, in the first stanza, the poet is telling what is this life full of stress, problems, difficulties, and we don't have time to stand. Stand doesn't mean you are standing or something like that. Stand means that you became free and observe the things around you. Care means worry, stress, and stare means to admire. But here, stare means to observe. So the poet in the first stanza says that what is this life? If it is full of stress, tensions, and just we are thinking about the stress and tension, and we don't have time at least to relax and stand or sit and observe the things around us, especially to observe the nature that is around us. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. So here the poet says we are so busy thinking about the tensions and problems that we don't have little of time so that we stand under the branches of trees and relax. Boughs means branches of trees. As the sheep or cows observes and admires the surrounding, the environment, then why can't we do that? Why can't we observe the environment and relax under the branches of trees? That is why the poet says that our lives are full of worries, that we don't have time to stand under the shades of the trees and appreciate the beauty of nature, like the sheep and the cows, how they appreciate by observing and living in the uh, under the trees in the jungles. The same way the poet says for the human beings that you also stand and stare at the greenery around you all and enjoy the beauty of the environment. No time to see when hoods we pass, where squirrel hides their nuts in grass. So we don't have time that when we are passing or going to the forest or under the trees, we are so busy that we don't have to time to stand there and watch the squirrels, that how the squirrels are hiding their nuts in the grass. So the poet says that look at the squirrels, how they are hiding their nut in the grass. So stand and observe them, what they are doing. No time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies and at night. So in the fourth stanza, the poet compares the streams of water to the glittery night sky as the water sparkles when the sun shines on it. So now we don't have time that we observe the streams. Stream means now you must have been seen the small waterfalls or the river. So the stream means not big but small waterfalls. So when you observe that in the daytime, as the sun rays falls upon the water, you will see how the water is shining like a glittery water, okay, and sparkling. So when the water is sparkling like the glitter, then the steams looks like the stars and seems that it is the night scene, because if you see in the picture how the steam full of stars shines, means when the water falls and see the stars at the night, it looks similar. So the poet is comparing this with the daytime and the night time, that how it shines at the daytime and how it shines, the sky shines at the night time. So though these two both the poet is comparing in this fourth stanza. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. So here students, the poet compares nature to a beauty. Now your beauty has been compared to a beautiful young girl. So the poet says that watch your feet, how they can dance. Now as you go in the forest or when you are passing through the trees, when the wind blows, you can see the trees are fluttering here and there in the form of dance. They do dance while the wind starts blowing. So same way the poet tells that, see, look at the surrounding, the nature that is around you, how it is dancing like a beautiful girl. So here the poet is indirectly comparing the beauty of the nature with the beautiful girl. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. So here we don't have time to see her smile, which first comes from her eyes, then her lips, means till her mouth. So you must have been observed that when we are happy, that time our happiness first you can see it in our eyes, and then we blush, and then it comes to our mouth and we smile. So the poet is telling we don't even have time to observe all these things of nature's, the beautiful maiden. Okay, we don't have time to see such things around us, that how the nature is enjoying their beautiful surrounding with the smile into onto their mouth. So all this the poet has been comparing. So in the first and sixth stanza, the poet compares the nature to the beauty who is forever present around us. She dances and smiles for us, but we have no time to stop and look at her because we lead to the busy life. As we are so much busy in our life, we don't even have time to look at that because just we are thinking about the tensions and our worries because we are so much busy to achieve our goals where that we don't have time to observe the surrounding, the environment. A poor life this if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. So here in this stanza, the poet feels that a life without appreciating the nature is seen as a lifeless life because we don't have the time for ourselves to care of the beauty of nature, as well as the poet draws our attention to the beauty of life around us, that we must make sure that we maintain the balance. We must ensure time is set aside for leisure so that we become more balanced and harmonious individual. We must also ensure that we put aside sufficient time to enjoy what God has given us, the beauty of nature around us. Life has no meaning if we do not enjoy and appreciate the beauty around us. So here the poet ends the poem by saying that life is pity worthless if we are always consumed by stress and have no time to acknowledge and be thankful for the nature's bounty. So here students, the summary of the poet is that the poem is highlighted that in today's world we have forgotten to put time aside for recreational activities. The poet also draws our attention to the fact that life has no meaning if we only concentrate on our work and we have no time to stand, no time to see, no time to turn, and no time to wait. We have to give meaning to our life by putting aside some time for leisure and to observe the simple things around us, like watching squirrel aside the nuts in hiding their nuts in grass and seeing the streams full of stars and seeing the natures and people dancing. So that's all for today. I hope students you have understood this poem very well. Let's discuss some figures of speech from the poem itself. The first one, what is this life if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? So here the figure of speech is interrogation because the poet begins the poem with a question, not to get an answer, but to cause the readers to think deeply about the points he is trying to make. The second one, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cow. So here the figure of speech is imaginary because the poet uses descriptive imaginary to make the poem appealing for the readers. Now, the third one, no time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile, her eyes began. So here the figure of speech is personification because the beauty is mentioned as nature, and nature has been given the human quality of having a mouth and the ability to smile. Now students, let us do the English workshop that is on page number 74. Our first question, say where. So here there are four sentences given. So at the first you have to put where. So the answer starts, where do the cows and sheds stands? So here it will come as beneath the boughs. Second, where do the squirrels store their food? Answer is in the grass. Third, where do stars shine in the daytime? Answer is in the running stream. Fourth, where does beauty's smile begin? Answer is from their eyes. Question number 2. Think and answer in your own words. First question. What would have inspired the poet to compose this poem? Do you think it relates to our present day life? Defeat your choice. So students, here this answer is your personal answer. For your idea, I'll give you a short answer for this question. Answer. I believe the beauty of nature inspired the poet to write this poem. The poet notes that man is so busy with his own life and his problems that he has no time for nature. He does not appreciate its beauty or its bounty. He wants man to stop being so self-absorbed and look at what nature has to offer. He wants man to forget his worries and lose himself in nature so that he can finally relax and find solace in its presence. Second question, which line proves that in our busy lives we do not even have a fractions of second to enjoy nature's beauty? So the answer is the line that proves that in our busy lives we don't even have a fractions of a second to enjoy nature's beauty is, we have no time to stand and stare. Now the third question, beauty in stanza 5 to 6 can refers to a beautiful maiden as well as nature itself. Explain when and how nature dance and also smile. So here the answer is, in stanza 5th to 6, it refers to a beautiful maiden as the poet compares the nature to the beauty who is forever present around us. She dances and smiles for us, but we have no time to stop and look at her because we lead busy life. The poet ends the poem by saying that the life is so pretty worthless if we are always consumed by stress and have no time to acknowledge and to be thankful to the nature's bounty. Now, the fourth question, why does the poet call our life poor? So, the answer is in the following ways. We are so busy with our lives that we have no time to stop and appreciate nature. Our lives are full of stress. We don't have value the beautiful things that surround us. If you don't have the time to observe nature in all its glory, a life is worthless, and a worthless life is a poor life. Question number 3. You have learned that when a human attributes is given to anything that is not a human being or it is spoken of as a person, the figure of speech used is called personification. So here the question is, Pick out two examples of personification from the poem. So, the first example is no time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. Your beautiful nature has been given the human qualities of being able to glance as well as that of dancing with her feet. The second example of personification is no time to wait till her mouth can enrich the smile that her smiles began. The same way here, the beauty of nature has been given the quality of having a mouth and the ability to smile. Now, the second question, pick out from the poem two examples of each of the following figures of speech. First is alliteration. So example for alliteration is, what is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. Here the sound of letters T and S has been repeated for a poetic effect. Now the second example of simile. No time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. Here there is a direct comparison between streams of water and the night sky, as the water twinkles like the stars when the sun shines on it. Now the third example of metaphor. No time to turn at beauty glance and watch her feet how they can dance. Here an indirect comparison has been made between beauty and nature. So students, that's all for today. I hope you have understood this poem and have acquired knowledge from this poem. So students, you can write this question answers into your notebook. Thank you students. Remain safe and God bless you.